Hello and welcome to Switzerland. We're here for the Wohlen Invitational and the opening weekend of this year's Indoor Archery World Series. The worldwide pandemic has, of course, affected all international sport. We'd normally be visiting a series of major mass participation tournaments in destination cities around the world, but this year we've gone online. Thousands of archers around the world are competing from clubs, archery ranges, and even at home. And we're hosting a select few at Invitational live events until we can get back to normality. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me in the commentary box is World Archery's Chris Wells. Chris, you're one of the architects of this series. Tell us what it's all about and how does it work?
Yeah, we've had a fantastic response to this online event, this first one we're doing. More than 2,800 archers have been competing this weekend all around the world. As long as they've got an 18-meter range and could shoot the round we want them to shoot, the 60 arrows, they can participate and post their scores live on the internet, compete with their friends, competitors, athletes all across the globe. It's been fantastic. We're hosting a few of these live events in certain small places. While the restrictions allow, we're inviting some international archers to come and compete. And this is the first of them here in Wohlen. So we can see some live archery as well. And you and I have something to do on the weekend, Karen.
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds, really. Everybody can get involved. And we've also got some live international sport for you. But it does open up some great opportunities for some underdogs and some potential banana skins. Tell us whether we've seen anything like that here.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the runner-up in the Indoor World Series final, Lizelle Yatma from Estonia, come and compete here. She qualified first this morning, but was undone in a shoot-off with her compatriot. We can see her entering the field now.
Yeah, well, we are about. It is time for the compound women's gold medal match. And as Chris said, both archers are out. As you can see in Wohlen, it's Marie of Estonia up against Anne-Marie Studer of Switzerland. There is Studer, 65 years young and a big smile on her face. Came through the ranking round with a 579 pass with a 568, just 18 years old. Chris, a great matchup. It's time for the first end.
Absolutely. Pash from Estonia, ranked 65th in the world, top 70, defeated her teammate, the runner-up at last year's Indoor World Series final, Lizelle Yatma, as we said, in the semi-finals in a shoot-off. Studer's been shooting for 6 years.
Studer gets us underway. Chris, any major differences we should look out for in terms of differences between indoor and outdoor archery?
They're shooting 18 meters here. We've got some problems with the timing already. It's Pass's first arrow. She'll need to just hang on for a second while they resolve the issue with the timing clock.
Unsettling to start the gold medal match for Pass. But a great first shot.
So they're shooting 18 meters in this indoor range. Normally we see compound archers shoot 50 meters. Outdoors, the system's the same. They shoot 15 arrows for score, and it's the archer with the highest score after 15 arrows that wins the match.
So we're hearing that little siren, Chris. You're saying there were a few technical issues. Still a 20-second clock?
It's a 20-second clock. There seems to be an issue in there. They've got a 10-second countdown going on at the same time. So they're just waiting a little bit longer to shoot, but 20 seconds to shoot each arrow indoors as well.
It's a great start from the 18-year-old. 3 nines from the looks of things for Studer on a 27. So a big opportunity for Passer in this first end. A perfect start for Pass. What do you think about that, Chris? The 18-year-old showing the way forward.
Yeah, she shot a 145 in her semi-final match against Lizelle Yatma to knock out that runner-up at last year's Indoor World Series finals. She hasn't shot in many finals matches in front of cameras before. It's only a small event. We've only invited 16 archers here, but to have cameras going, to have those people around, it's much more than a normal club event, a normal tournament that you'd go to in your country. And that's why we want to get back to this, why we wanted to give these archers an arena to shoot again in front of the stage, in front of the cameras, and in front of people watching around the world.
With the events all around the globe, I mean, how involved, as we take a look back through that first end, and Studer's first arrow, how involved have World Archery been in getting this, the cameras, all the extra technology that perhaps these archers wouldn't be used to?
Yeah, we've been organising, obviously, broadcast events for ever since we started the Indoor World Series, like the Outdoor World Cup. For these invitational events, we've kind of organised everything. We wanted to show some showcase of international archery while this online event was going on, and the 2,500 plus, 2,800 plus archers also took part from their clubs and ranges at home. We're really encouraging people to run both the small live events and the larger kind of internationals where possible in their countries, because obviously the pandemic is progressing at different rates and restrictions are raising at different rates in different countries.
Yeah, a massive task being undertaken to do this both at the world level and locally, but it's time for N2. So Studer trailing by the 3 points, needs to get off to a cracking start. Well, that's the first 10 for Studer in the match. And that, I think, is the first 9 for Pass. So a bit of a swing in points there. That's exactly what Studer needs. Well, Chris, as the scoreboard tells, it's still a 3-point swing for Pass, but a bit of a change in fortunes halfway through that end.
Yeah, and on that last arrow in particular, Pass, she drew up and the arrow kind of flicked all the way off the rest. You could see her putting it back on the rest with most of her shots when she draws up. That last one went too far off. She came down, had to reset, and that took her a lot of time. So she flung that last one high and right, and that's what got her the big 9. You'll just see she goes there and checks the end of the arrow with her fingers, just in case she needs to make sure it sits on the rest. And that's because the front of that arrow is exceptionally heavy, and it's resting on a spring. And as you draw up, it kind of bounces up and down and can just drop off. And you just need to push it back on again. Doesn't normally hurt you, but on that last arrow, it did for Pass.
Oh, good spot there. These tiny details make such a big difference in this sport. But if you're sitting in Anne-Marie Studer's position at the moment, I suppose you've got nothing to lose, but also she's got to just remain focused on her own shots. There's nothing she can do about the form of Pass at the moment, is there?
No, absolutely, but we've talked about it before. In compound archery, it's probably easier to chase than it is to lead, because when you're leading, you've got that pressure of not missing. Whereas when you're chasing, all you can do is shoot tens. You've already lost unless the other person makes a mistake. So all you can do is try and put yourself in the best position to win. And Studer's already done that throughout today's competition. She matched her personal best in competition during the qualification, and she's come through to a final.
Well, she is in this final. It will be Studer to shoot first at the start of end 3. So trailing Studer shoots first. Another slightly high one. Chris, you were talking about Studer. She's 65 years young, but she's taken up archery fairly recently, hasn't she?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 6 years. Just goes to show really can involve anyone at any age, and that's what's been fantastic about this online version of the Indoor World Series. Literally anybody can get involved as long as they've got access to an 18-meter range.
Well, there we have it. 84 to 86. So Studer has closed the gap by a single point, subject, of course, to the measure being conducted at that moment. You'd much rather be in Pass's shoes, but as you said, Chris, Studer's got nothing to lose, and in some respects, trailing is sometimes easier. Do you think she can do this, having been through 3 ends already?
Look, I mean, we haven't got spectators. It's not the kind of busy, loud environment we'd normally have at an event like this, but it's still in front of the cameras and it still matters. Yeah, there's only a small amount of archers, but it's just still Studer's first time being in a finals field and caring about that. Those first couple of hours, those first 2 ends won't have been easy. It's difficult to see nerves, but she will have had them. Going into these last 2 ends, maybe a bit more comfortable, maybe a bit more relaxed, maybe can take this all the way.
Well, there we see Pass wearing a mask. What have the restrictions been like there? There must be special measures in place, obviously.
Yeah, we've come to Wohlen. It's a canton, state in the north of Switzerland, where they're allowing sporting events. You can see the red and white lines, the boxes on the ground. This is for the archers to compete. When they're in those boxes, they don't have to wear masks, but they're choosing to put them on in between ends for safety purposes, entirely their prerogative. They've got at least 2.5 meters space for each archer on the ground, which means we could only have 8 shooting at one time. So it really had to be a very, very small event, a huge number of restrictions. But I spoke to a lot of the archers this morning, and they were just really happy to compete. We'll see Mike Schlusser in the next match, and he was telling me about his nerves. I mean, this is the world number 2.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Well, this is the first gold medal match of the day, and it's time for end 4. Which doesn't show much emotion, but things are rolling in the right direction for Anne-Marie Studer. Two close ones for Pass. I think they'll both be marked as 10s. A chance for a perfect score here. That also tickling the line. May go to a quick measure. All 3 very close there for Pass. Chris, what are your eagle eyes like?
Yeah, I think she's caught all 3 of those. The young archer from Estonia on target 1. The goal for compound archers indoors is just 2 centimeters across in diameter. Aiming at that thing 18 meters away. Most use a magnifying scope to make it look a little bit bigger, but at the end of the day, it's still really, really tiny, barely bigger than the shaft of the arrow they're using. You can see the judge taking a closer look at that top one. It's really easy to miss. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, there's 18 meters of range, and you've only got a thing that's 2 centimeters small to hit, so it's not easy at all.
And what was your call for Studer on that one? Was that a 9 or a 10 at the end?
In my opinion, I think it's just out. And it's difficult when it's a millimeter out or you know, barely a breath. I think it's easier to take when you're wide, nearly in the red. It's a big expanse of 9 you've got there when you're a compound archer. 8s aren't too common, but it's easy to hit the 9. Easier to take it. It's a bit further out, but that one I think is just outside.
Yeah, I think you may be right, but they did take their time calling that one. We wait for confirmation of the scores, but we suspect, despite a good turnaround for that lady there, Anne-Marie Studer, Pass may well have opened up that 3-point lead again. (1-1-3) is the score for Studer.
And 3 is really important going into the last end. Means you can mess up all 3 shots and at least probably get away with the shoot-off if you only hit 9s. So.
Well, here we go. It is time for the 5th and final end. So Studer will shoot first again, and she needs to put down 10s to put some kind of pressure on Pass. Pass has a 3-point room for maneuver. Not going high and into the 9. And she's back to the form of the first end. Maybe a slight over adjustment from Studer there. That dropped low to the 9, we think. And so it looks like a 28 to finish for Studer. A big opportunity to finish with a perfect 30 for Pass. Oh, that one's exceptionally close. Chris, can you call that last arrow?
Yeah, I call it a 10. She shot it with confidence, shot it with power. That's a clean and comfortable win there for the Estonian archer. Great shooting.
Yeah, brilliant start. And then she stayed very, very consistent. Mari-Marita Pass finishing with 2 30s to take the gold here at the Wohlen International. Studer didn't shoot badly at all. It was just that 27 right at the beginning that opened the door for Pass and seemed to just give her confidence, Chris.
Yeah, she's not world ranked. She's not shot an international before. Here at this Invitational to represent Switzerland, and PH Archery, the local club or shop actually that's hosting us here in the north of Switzerland. She shot fantastically this morning, equaled her personal best, but a few nerves when she entered that finals arena, I think, Karim. Couldn't quite hold it together at the start. Got better, though, as it went forward. A bit more confident, but not enough to come back into this one.
It certainly wasn't. And Pass just waiting for that final confirmation of the scores from the target end of the range. I think she knows that she's got this. We think it's a 146, 141. It is a 146 for Pass. And she has taken a gold here in the compound women's event here in Wohlen. And, well, Chris has got another job. Hopefully, he's going to be down there with an interview a little bit later with Mary Marita passes. We take a look back. Chris, like you say, it was a stuttering start from Studer, but Pass was consistent throughout.
Yeah, and great experience for this 18-year-old. She's actually ranked higher than Lizelle Jatma, the girl she beat, her teammate from Estonia in the semi-finals. But it's Jatma that put it together on the Indoor World Series last year to come second. So this entire country, this team has a strong future ahead of it in compound women's archery in particular. Fantastic performance, fantastic first performance in front of the cameras, even at a small event like this.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to hear what you have to say to her a little bit later on. But now it's time for the compound men's gold medal match. So our two archers, Robin Jatma, the 19-year-old world number 126 from Estonia, shot a 588 in the ranking round. He goes up against this man, Mr. Perfect, world number 1. It's the Netherlands 26-year-old Mike Schlusser. Chris, Schlusser shot a 593, not quite perfect, but pretty good. But Jatma with a 588 in the ranking round, both shooting very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mikey, they're sticking around there on the shooting line. Mikey wasn't happy with his shooting this morning. He said he had nerves for the first half. Dropped more points than we're used to seeing from him. Used to seeing him up in the 98, 99, or 600. Mr. Perfect, of course, because he was the first to shoot a perfect 600. But he said, even in this small competition, it's a competition to be have a score sheet, for the points to matter for something. The nerves came in. Robin Jatma also very, very impressive shot at the Universiade last year.
Well, it will be Schlosser to get end one underway. That's not a bad start from Schlosser. He's looking down his binoculars, but I think that's pretty much in the 10. It's now time for the 19-year-old Estonian to hold his nerve. And a good start from him. Just what he needed. Chris, if Schlosser gets back to his form that we're used to, is this his for the taking?
Well, we always think Mikey, world number 2, reigning Indoor World Series champion as well, is the favorite in any match he goes up against, almost any match anyway. But don't count Robin Jatma up. Mike said to me earlier, they're all good archers here. You can't take anything for granted. So he's not expecting a simple one here.
Slightly longer hold. And that looks like it's just clipped the line. So are we going for 2 perfect scores here in the first end?
Yeah, you don't get any more points for hitting the dead center. It might look much better, feel much better, but Robin Jatma there, I think he's caught enough on the right side to get a perfect 30 as well. 2 30s to start. The longer this goes on, the longer those 30s keep coming, the more difficult it is to keep them in the middle. And that's when it gets exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, as you said, these guys haven't competed for a long time, and even Mr. Perfect is feeling the nerves. Clearly, they've both started very well, but would you say that it's even more in favour of the more experienced Dutch archer here?
No, I mean, Robin has experience on a final field. Like I said, Universiade last year, he did very well there. He shot in big matches. Not as experienced as Mr. Perfect, of course, not as experienced as Mike. Mike's the reigning Indoor World Series champion, reigning outdoor Hyundai Archery World Cup champion. But we saw Robin's sister, Lizelle, go out earlier in an unexpected match. These things can happen, and it's there for the taking if Robin can put it together. It's only 12 more arrows to decide this final.
And might well be buoyed by his compatriot Pass taking gold in the compound women's tournament. Time now for N2 of the men's gold medal match. So Schlosser will shoot first. The scores all level at 30 apiece. That one Could have crept high. It's been marked as a 10. Chris, a big Estonian contingent here, given the small field. How have the logistics been with the travel between these two countries?
Yeah, the organisers here, they chose just a couple of countries, small groups that could come and contribute to this invitational. So we've got Mike and Gabby from the Netherlands, and we've got 3 from Estonia, a few from the local area, and then Pierre Plion from France, along with Erika Jannas from Sweden. So just a couple of groups together. They all travelled, mostly drove, point to point, single hotel. Lots of measures in place to make sure that no one's health was in danger here. Well-being first. But
Yeah,
it's
it
great
looks
to
like
have international archers in one place again. That's for sure.
yeah, I bet it is. I bet it's been an amazing, journey for all of these athletes to get here. And you've picked a good bunch as well. 2 perfect 30s from both archers to start this gold medal match off. Slight question mark over Michael Schlosser's first arrow. Your thoughts on that one?
I think he'll have been very lucky if that's been called in. Obviously, all scores here checked by our judge, Ramon. That's Jatma's target.
Yeah, it was a high one, and it looks like you may well be right. It may well not have crept into the 10. And that man there, Robin Jatma, at 19 years old, could well be in a 1-point lead. Just wait for confirmation of the scores. It will be Schlosser shooting first, but that doesn't necessarily tell us whether he's trailing. We'll see. Start of end 3. So Schlosser dropped a point in the second end. So shoots first to start the third. And 2 10s to start this third end. Chris, you know these athletes very well. Will that drop point just spur Schlosser on?
To be honest, I think Mike shoots best when he's behind. When he gets in front, he gets a bit more nervous usually. And those last couple of hours, that's when the weird Mike Schlosser creeps in, when he's not as confident, when he's a bit slower and a bit wayward on those last shots, when he's trailing. He's never like that. He's just looking for the middle. He's looking for a chance to catch up. And frankly, that's why he's won so many.
A good response. It looks like a 30 there in the third end for Schlosser. But got to say, Robin Jatma looks very composed. Also on for a perfect score, and that looks like he's got it as well. So that's a third 30 in a row for Jatma, and he still leads by that single point. Chris, I'm not quite sure we expected this.
Like we said, it's only 15 arrows. I mean, it's enough to decide a winner, but it's not a lot. A few mistakes here and there, they can cost you. Mike's only made one mistake, and it'll cost him if Robin stays perfect for the rest. He's got to chase. As we said, we think it's easier to chase than it is to lead. So Robin's got to deal with that pressure now for the next 6 arrows. Stay ahead of Mike if he wants to take this home. Take this home and quarantine, by the way. The Estonians, we were talking about them traveling. They will have to isolate when they get back for a couple of weeks. So, international archers will do anything to get back to competition.
Yeah, the new normal, as it's been dubbed. In order to take part in an international tournament, you have to face the prospect of potentially the rules changing at home whilst you're away. Just replacing the targets. Chris, though, if you were Robin Jatma, would you want to be in this position, have that lead? I mean, obviously you'd want a much bigger lead, but I mean, it's better than being behind, isn't it?
Well, for sure, you've got an opportunity to win if you're ahead. If you're behind, you're always chasing. It's just not easy. He looks great, though. He looks calm. He looks confident.
He does.
He looks exceptionally chilled, sitting on these chairs we've set out for them in their competition boxes in these post-pandemic times.
Well, it's Robin Jatma of Estonia leading Mikey Schlusser of the Netherlands, and it's time for the fourth end. They don't often say this, but trailing, Mikey Schlusser will shoot first in this compound men's gold medal match here in Wohlen. Both shooting 10s, stand level with each other. Does the pressure build on Schlosser as the arrows start to go down?
As soon as time runs out, it's over. You know, as time's ticking, the pressure's building.
Oh, a big wince there from Robin Jatma. Opportunity abounds for Mikey Schlosser to draw level here. Well, that looks like he's done it.
That was Mike's best arrow of the match so far.
And back into the center for Jatma. So good recovery, but a 29 from the Estonian. Plays a 30 from the Dutchman. And it looks like we're all square again, Chris, going into the deciding end.
Yeah, 12 arrows in, and we're back to 0. Just 3 arrows to decide this final. Mike had that little wobble. I mean, it was only a millimeter out or less even on the top face to get that 9 cooled. Robin, it was that second arrow that just kind of flinched and went high and right. This was the first. That's the one that let Mike back into this. Now we're all level again. 3 arrows to decide who takes the win here. And a small 500 Swiss franc prize check too.
Not bad at all on a Sunday afternoon. The question really, though, is can Robin Jatma keep his cool? He's looked very calm, as you've said.
Yeah, he has just as much chance to win this as Mike does now. Mike's clawed his way back in, but they both dropped a point. Aside from that one arrow that flinched, all his other shots have been fantastic. They've been in the middle. Mike, he was unlucky to get that 9 high on that top target, and he's looked good as well. It's a great match, high level between two fantastic archers. World number 2 and world number 126.
Yeah, big gap in the world rankings, but nothing between them here as we go into the 5th end. Schlosser will want to get off to a good start here, just to put that pressure on Jatma. And that is a 10 for him. A little bit of a wince there and a slightly longer hold. First signs of emotion from the Estonian. Pressure back on to the 19-year-old. And that looks like it's crept into the 9. So a big opportunity here. 10 from Schlosser will put this out of reach. And it is a 10 and another perfect 30 from Mr. Perfect. A 149. And another 9 to finish off for Jatma. And his lowest score of the match, a 28 in the 5th, means that man there, world number 2, 26-year-old, it's Mike Schlosser of the Netherlands with gold here in Wohlen. It took 4 ends, Chris, for the pressure to show on Robin Yatma's face. It was a great match through to the 5th.
There was fantastic shooting. 1 point dropped on both sides until the start of the 5th end, but that's when experience really shone through. Mike shot his best arrow of the match with that last one. Game on the line, 10 to win it, drills the middle. Robin there, second to last arrow. The pressure just got to him. Couldn't quite execute as cleanly as he had been doing up until then, and it just drifted out of the 10 ring.
Certainly did, and it was a great match right the way throughout. And the favourite at the beginning, Mike Schlusser, comes away with the gold. Now, did promise you that Chris was going to step away from the commentary box to go and do a few interviews. I think he's done that now, as we're just waiting for the targets to be cleared and the scores to be confirmed. But I think we've got this as a 149 for Mike Schlusser and a 147 for Robin Yatma. And there is confirmation. Mikey Schlusser is the winner here in Wohlen. Well, a reserved round of applause for the winning athlete here at this World Series event. Strange times, but we are bringing you live international sport. We take a look back across the match. Started so well for both archers, both shooting 30s in the first end. Schlosser keeping himself to himself, but this man here, the 19-year-old Robin Yatma, kept his cool throughout. Just came under too much pressure in the 5th and final against the world number 2. I'll have to settle for the silver medal. Mikey Schlosser with the gold. I tell you, there's still delays. The athletes just getting ready, and it is time to go and speak to the winner of the compound women's gold medal match, Miri Marita Pass, with Chris Wells.
It's been a long time since we've been on the international circuit, obviously. Getting back to competition with international archers, even in a small competition, just 4 of you. What was it like?
It was kind of like a club competition. You didn't feel like a competition. Just the first. So, like, there's only 8 of us, like in the combat section. So I'm freaked out a bit, but it was awesome because again, like there haven't been any competition, so we're really lucky to be here.
You go back to Estonia with 500 francs worth the trip.
Definitely. And yeah, that's really fun.
Congratulations, well done.
There with Miri Marita Pass of Estonia, the 18-year-old taking the compound women's gold medal. And here is Mikey Schlosser, the men's gold medalist.
Gold medal here in Wohlen, Invitational. And you told me you had a few nerves before the match. How did that play out on the field? That one arrow that was called out, it was just barely a millimetre out at the top, trailing in the match. Is it a difficult spot to come back from?
It was pretty early in the match, so I don't see it that myself. But if it was going to be like later in the match, I will still be trailing. Only thing I can do is focus myself, keep shooting 10s, and hopefully that he would miss, and that eventually happens. So.
Okay, you finished with a 10, your best shot of the match. How good is it to finish with a win here? Only a small competition, but an important one to get back on the podium.
It's a competition at all. Like it's been 9 months. We just counted it as 9 months since I've had my last competition. So it's been a really good feeling, and I'd actually, especially when you win it at the end.
Perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For the sound issues at the beginning of those interviews. Well, we're in this environment where things are happening at a social distance. Sometimes it's not perfect, but it is now time to switch our attention to the recurve event here in Wohlen, and it's time for the recurve women's gold medal match. Back on the range, and on the left it's Gabi Schlusser of the Netherlands up against Maxine Pichenaar of Switzerland. This is Maxine Pichenaar. She's just 20 years old and shot a 5.38 in the ranking round, coming through Yangnäs of Sweden in the semi-finals. Here is Gabi Schlusser, the world number 15, at 26-year-old, shooting for the Netherlands, shot a 5.82 in the ranking round, and is the class act of the field here in this event in Wohlen. And our line judge there saying that it will be Gabi Schlusser of the Netherlands to shoot first. It's time for the first set of the women's gold medal match. And there is Gabi Schlusser. Chris, she's been the class act of the field here at this event. Favourite? Well, looks like Chris hasn't quite got back from his interview, so we will ask him that question when he returns. Now, first creeping out of the yellow for Pichenaar, just adjusting her sight there, we saw, but a 10-8 lead after just one arrow. But of course, we're working on a set system here, so we'll add up the scores after each set of 3 arrows, and the leading archer will get 2 points with a target score of 6 to take gold here in Switzerland. So this one's out of reach, and as you can see, the grouping not so great for the 20-year-old Swiss archer Maxine Pichenaar, shooting a 25 in the first set. So the first 2 set points go to Gabi Schlusser of the Netherlands. Chris, are you back?
I am back.
I was saying right at the beginning that Gabi Schlusser was probably the favourite for this, the class act of the field so far here in Wohlen. And, well, after the first set, it looks like that is still the case.
Yeah, she led qualification despite halfway through her knocking point coming loose and having to scramble to fix that. But a perfect 30 here to open and really impressive. Like we said, experience matters on this finals field. Gabi, a bronze medalist at the European Games last year in Minsk, and no stranger to the finals field, the cameras and the attention. For Pichenaar, this is a second time in front of cameras. She was there when we broadcast the Swiss Championships as a test earlier this winter, this autumn. But she's not used to this arena.
She isn't used to this arena, but is Schlusser leading 2 set points to nil. It's time for the second set. And Maxine Pichenaar will shoot first, trailing by 2 set points. You can see the stabilizer shaking around all over the place. She's found the 9 there. Chris, a lot of nerves for Maxine Pichenaar.
Yeah, but she's capable of reining those in. She's actually faced Gabi before on the Indoor World Series circuit at the GT Open last year. She took her to a shoot-off, didn't take it further, but tied her on set points.
A lot of movement though in that stabilizer. Is that just nerves?
Yeah, usually when you're not solid, when you're not confident, if you're a bit shaky, it'll show up on that stabilizer. It's a lever. It's a lot further than the end of the hands, and it really shows up there. That's where you'll see those shakes come out.
Yeah, back into the 9s and making another adjustment, Pichenaar. Well, certainly dropped 1 point, but it's enough for Schlosser. She's taken their second set and has a commanding 4-0 lead here. Just looking back here, Pichonat, look at that stabilizer moving around. Chris, is there anything that she can do to sort of steady her nerves in the short gap between sets?
I know when I was shooting, my nerves always steadied when I lost a match. So I always made it to the bronze medal match quite easily because I'd lose the one that matters and then win the one that gets you the last spot on the podium. So hopefully she can do it a bit sooner than that. Steady it now. 2 sets in, 2 sets lost, but still plenty of time to come back into it. She just needs to win the next few. It's all about mental reset. Mental reset.
Yeah, got to start again, go back to her process and rinse and repeat. Well, she will shoot first, trailing by 4 set points. We're almost ready for set number 3. So Schlosser leading by 4 set points, can do it in this set, but it will be Maxine Pichonat to shoot first. Really big shake at the end there. You've got a feel for her. And slight over adjustment again. Seeing the same pattern from Pichonat. Unfortunately for her, we're seeing the same pattern from Gabi Schlosser as well. She's on for a perfect score in this 3rd set. And if she gets it, she's going to take gold in Wohlen. And into the 10 for Pichonat. Potentially finishing with her best arrow. An 8 for the win. And that is more than enough. A 9 does it. Another 29 for Gabi Schlosser. And she's taken the gold medal here in Wohlen. 9 arrows. Chris, real experienced shower there. As you said right at the beginning, Schlosser very experienced, used to TV cameras, used to being on television or being live streamed. Maxine Pichonat, not so much.
No, but a fantastic performance nonetheless, experience or not. Gabi really shot well in that one, opening with a 30, following up with a couple of 29s. That's good enough to win most matches. Thoroughly deserved win here for the former Mexican athlete, now shooting for the Netherlands. Maxine Pichonat, great experience, though. You can see the conversation between the two, and she'll learn from this. She's building. Not often an opportunity to shoot against someone of Gabi's standard in an arena like this.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this tournament. It is Schlosser who takes gold, but Pichonat walks away with a bag of experience. There is confirmation that it's gold for Schlosser here in Wohlen. And that is the great thing, Chris, as you're saying about this tournament. It does give an opportunity for everybody to get involved. But if you're at these special invitationals, it's an opportunity to experience some exposure that perhaps you don't normally get.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll obviously look for some more archers to compete in next month, and there'll be more opportunities. But for these 16 athletes, it's a chance to get back to competition, and back to competition, no matter the format, matters. And we've seen great response for our online event this weekend. 2,800, more than 2,800 athletes around the world competing. We've seen lots of posts on social media. Guys really enjoying, people really enjoying getting back on the line and their scores mattering in something more than just practice.
Yeah, brilliant tournament. And the Invitational here finishes with the recurve men's gold medal match. Well, the archers are out on the shooting line. It is Valentin Schoffar of Switzerland, 23 years old, taking on his compatriot, Florian Faber, at 23 years old. Well, Chris, two Swiss athletes taking on each other on home soil. Is this what you expected?
No, absolutely not. We had Pierre Plion, top 20 archer in the world, 14th, I think, at the moment, from France, come over. And to be honest, he was expected to be in the final. He seeded top in the ranking round, but just had a bad semi-final and got knocked out. And this is what you end up with. You end up with the people who shot better in the matches making their way through to contest this gold medal.
And a favourite for this one?
Faber is the more experienced. He was 4th in the mixed team event in the Universiade and 7th in Minsk at the European Games last year. Valentin Chauffard hasn't really shot outside of Switzerland. Done 2 Youth World Championships with the Swiss team. Just 20 years old. It's a new experience for him, this finals arena.
Well, an opportunity there for him. He shot a 9 with his first arrow.
Chauffard a 10 with his second.
Long hold. Now, is that going to be marked as a 10 or a 9, Chris?
It's a close one. The judge will need to take a look at that, but I'm very impressed with Valentin Chauffard's start here. He had a bit of a nervy time in the quarterfinals. I was watching him through the window from my office here, and he wasn't looking comfortable at all times on that line, but fantastic, powerful shot. Really expressive follow through and a great start to this final.
Yeah, he may well have snuck that by a single point, 28 to 27 as well. And if he has, he'll take the first 2 set points. Both looking on attentively.
Faber questioning the decision being made at the shooting, the target end from the shooting line. Obviously, even in non-COVID times in finals, the archers don't go down to the target end, but the agents, they normally have agents representing them from their teams in order to restrict the number of people in the hall. We've only got a couple of volunteers, and these guys are pulling all the arrows for the archers here in Wohlen.
Yeah, and it looks like having pulled the arrows, it was a 9-10-9 for Chauffard, but a 10-8-10 for Faber. So 28 apiece, and that means 1 set point all. So it will be Faber to shoot first for the second set. So the measure going in favour of Faber in that first set, Chris. Does that do anything for your morale?
He's experienced enough to know what's in the past is the past. The score's 1-1, but it's what he shoots in the future that'll affect the outcome of this match. And he's come back in this second set and shot a good 10 to kick it off.
He's pulled that one left. Remember, they're shooting over 18 meters. And you could see the tension building up there in Chauffard's arms. Follows his 10 with a 7. So a massive opportunity for the 23-year-old here. Gone left again, but that is in the 9. So a 28 for Faber. Let's put this one out of reach. But a great finish.
I think with an expressive follow through, as Valentine's chauffeur does have, is it takes a lot of energy, and once it goes wrong, if you don't have it very clean each time or very consistent each time, it's very easy to swing one of those arrows off center, as you see he did there with his second. He knew he needed it to go more right, and he tried to push it over, but it was far too late. When you see his normal shots, they kind of explode behind him to the left, and that would have been the wrong direction there to send that arrow even further out. It's difficult to keep control of, and that's why you'll see a lot of international archers try and use the kind of least follow through they have. If you can make it work, it's all about shooting it consistently.
Well, Faber there looking a little bit more relaxed than he did after the first set. And that's because he has taken the 2 set points from the second and leads 3 set points to 1 as we go into the third set of this men's gold medal match. So now it's Valentin Chauffeur, the 20-year-old, who will shoot first, trailing by 2 set points. And just like that, an opportunity presents itself to Chauffeur. Not a big pull. And that's up into the 8 ring. And just like that, the opportunity switched over to the other side, and Faber took it. Big wobbles here and a long hold. Well, he got away with it by the looks of things. Another 10. But a 10 gets the points for Faber here. Dropped into the 9 and another 28 from Faber and another tied up score. So 2 points to 4. There was an opportunity for both archers in that set, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest opportunity was probably with that last shot. Valentin's chauffeur didn't look comfortable at all, wobbling for a long time at full draw. He managed to will it, drive it into the middle. Yeah. And that really told the story, because if he hadn't done that, it would have been set points lost and a real hole to come back from. As it is, he's kept 1 foot in the door here.
He certainly has, and that one swung one way and t'other, and you could see Faber knew that one was not going to get what he wanted. He still leads Faber by 4 set points to 2 as we get ready for the 4th set of the men's gold. So Valentin Chauffeur will shoot first in this 4th set and needs to put down a big marker to put some pressure on Florian Faber, his compatriot. This for the Wohlen Invitational recurve men's gold medal. Well, he's pulled that one high into the 8. Chris, was that too quick a release that time?
Quick's usually better, but it's just not stable. He's not quite. His execution is a little bit sloppy, a little bit loose, and that's what making it quite inconsistent down the target. If you compare the two of them, Faber's much slower, much more determined, and much more clean in his release of the shot.
Very precise in his draw. On a 29 plays 17, or sorry, a 19 plays 17. Chauffer's got to put down a big arrow here, otherwise this one could slip away. Oh, that's just on the 9 for me. Gold in his hands. And he's finished with another 9, and a 28 plays 26 will be enough to give the winning set points to Florian Faber, winning the match 6 points to 2. Of course, we wait for the target judge to confirm that, but I think both athletes know this, Chris.
Yeah, that's clear in the target. Faber just shot a more consistent match here. Only took him 4 of the 5 sets. Oh no, to take the win, and he deserves it. He shot not perfect scores, but enough to stay ahead of Valentin. Valentin was too all over the place. Couldn't keep it together for 3 hours of one end and really put and stake his claim in this final.
Yeah, the big points dropped in the second set. That 1-7, the second arrow from Shofar, often points to the whole story. But like you say, inconsistency throughout compared to a much more consistent Faber and a deserving winner. They are having a good old look at that 1 hour in the bottom target there, though. And that was a Schofar's target that was being looked at. Here we have Faber's target, still with the 4 here, but they are now changing the score, and it has been confirmed that Florian Faber from Switzerland takes the recurve men's gold 6 set points to 2 against compatriot Valentin Schofar. And there is the big smile confirming his winning performance here in Wohlen. Another big opportunity for a youngster here. The 20-year-old Valentin Schofar of Switzerland had a little bit of an inconsistent gold medal match. That was the 7 in the second set, which really opened the door. It certainly wasn't plain sailing for Florian Faber, his Swiss compatriot, but he was consistent enough in the end to take gold here in this first indoor World Series event. And let's hand over to Chris,
Gabby,
who is with
fantastic
Gabby
final out
Schlosser.
there, 30, 29, 29. You'd be proud of that in any circumstances, but your first time in front of the cameras in a long time. Must be great.
Yeah, I feel really good. It's really nice to have the chance to shoot together with other people and stuff like that.
How long has it been since you've been in a competition like this, and what was it like to step out and shoot arrows that matter?
Well, I think that the last competition I shot where I was in the finals was last year in Macau or in Rome, somewhere like that. So it was like a really long time ago. I shot Vegas and I shot other tournaments, but not in the finals. So it was like really nerve-wracking. I was really nervous. I was shaking a lot, and like according to me.
A big win here, 500 francs and a trip home. It's a long drive, 6 hours, but worth it for your performance here today.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it, and I'm going to spend it on my Christmas present.
Congratulations, Gabby. Well done.
Well, Gabby Schlosser there telling us how she's going to spend her winnings. And I think Chris will have Florian Faber of Switzerland, who's taken the men's gold, very shortly for a few words from him.
Great, I feel great. It was a nice match. It was very tough to shoot again after such a long time in a competition, and then also like this. It's challenging, but it was very nice. It was very cool.
You're here representing some Swiss locals against some internationals that came to take away your prizes. A successful weekend to defend your ground.
Definitely, yes. It was very nice. It's also quite nice to shoot again in international competition with good international archers. I'm quite happy that they could come in such times, but it's very, very nice.
Obviously a bit different here with the restrictions, wearing the masks, but the Indoor World Series is back for this year. We're back in December. Will you be shooting the rest of it?
I will definitely shoot the rest of it, yeah. I think it's a great idea. It's a cool competition, and also if it's not that locations like where everybody is, it's still somehow a competition which is everybody is together. So it's nice.
Congratulations, great shooting.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all of them. To confirm, Mary Marita Pass of Estonia won the battle of youth versus experience against Anne-Marie Studer of Switzerland in the compound women's gold medal match. It was Lizelle Jatma of Estonia taking the bronze in that discipline. In the men's compound, Mikey Schlosser of the Netherlands took out Robin Jatma of Estonia for the gold. And it was Roman Heifelfinger of Switzerland who picked up the bronze medal. Switching over to the recurve, Gabby Schlosser took the gold in the women's tournament, beating Maxine Pichonard of Switzerland. And it was bronze for Valentine Julie of Switzerland men's. Well, we've just seen Florian Faber, the gold medalist, beating Valentin Chauffard, his compatriot from Switzerland. And it was Thomas Rufer of Switzerland who picked up the bronze. Chris, hopefully you're back. Great interviews. Gabby telling us how she's going to spend her winnings. And, well, Florian saying how wonderful it is having this tournament.
Yeah, and that's really the attitude we've seen from everyone who's taking part in this new format for the Indoor Archery World Series. This is a mass participation circuit, and normally we're at an event in a destination city around the world where everyone flies in and competes together on the line. And it's just not possible at the moment. So we've got to find a way as a sport to come together and still compete, still be that strong community that we know we are. And this is a fantastic way to do it. And those winners that you've just reeled up, fantastic ambassadors for the sport, competing here in Wohlen and doing a fantastic job to shoot and win this invitational.
Yeah, as we said at the beginning, best of both worlds. Everyone can take part in the event, and then we have these wonderful televised events or broadcast events for people to take a look at some of the superstars and some of the up and comings and some surprises. So, just remind everyone first off, how can they get involved if they aren't able to attend an invitational?
Absolutely. You can register for the online version of the Indoor World Series on the World Archery website. Information posted quite regularly. Sign up as long as you can compete over 18 meters, standard target face, standard rules. You can score online, submit your score, and be ranked with thousands of archers all over the world. It's a truly international competition. If there are any live events, as restrictions ease, of course, to get involved. We've still got Nîmes scheduled in January. We've still got Vegas scheduled in February. We don't know if they're going to be able to happen, but we're hoping that we'll get back to archery progressively with these smaller live events like Wohlen as a trailblazer for the future.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant start. I mean, it's different times for everyone, different for the athletes, different for you at World Archery to bring these events together, different for the audience experiencing archery in a slightly different way, but we're bringing live archery. So to that now, we've seen how everybody can get involved. You've mentioned Nîmes, you've mentioned Vegas. There are more of these smaller events, these invitational events coming up.
Yeah, we'll be back in December. We're not quite sure where from yet. It'll be somewhere in Switzerland, no doubt. And we'll have some invitational archers. Again, shooting for some prizes for some titles at a small invitational in December, the 19th and 20th.
Perfect. Chris, as always, thank you very much indeed. And thanks to you for being with us in Wohlen. We'll be back, as Chris said, for the second stage of the Indoor Archery World Series and another live invitational in December.